What jersey is that?
This is the official Goosed.ie jersey. It was made by my mate Brenny over in the UK. He does crypto jerseys FC, so he's supplying a lot of the London amateur clubs with kits and stuff. So he made us these, but I also got the NFT. So my metaverse character is the only character in the world that has an official Goosed football jersey, which is pretty fucking cool if you ask me.
It's as cool as you want it to be.
Yes. And his day job is he works AV for Fulham, so like he gets to see Alex Iwobi, Calvin Bassey, and the boys, and obviously I support
that's dope. That's
so dope. This dickhead is working my dream job.
And who do you support?
I'm a Fulham fan.
Oh damn!
Yeah, I know. For my sadness and just we don't accept happiness at all, so you kind of get used to it. Anyway, I suppose we should actually do the actual introduction here. Yeah, so
I'm a Chelsea fan.
Fuck off! Of course you were.
Oh yeah,
so we're rivals.
Yeah, we're rivals. Yeah. But anyways, let's
anyway, now that we've done the soft intro, so we're latest episode of the Goose podcast. We've done an absolute fucking rake load over the last year. And with me today, we're going to talk about music and gaming, music and technology, and just all things music and licensing. And with me, I've got probably one of the biggest experts in the field. Met the guy recently, and fuck me, Solomon. Do you want to do the intro? Tell us who you are, what you do, and why we do it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Solomon. For people that don't know me, I am a music executive and entrepreneur here in Ireland. 28 years old, and identify as Black and Irish, Nigerian Irish. We born in London, lived in Ireland since I was 2. I've been playing music since I was 2. So I've been playing music in primary school, did it in secondary school, and then ended up going to study in uni, trying to focus on drums. And then it was the second year of music streaming officially in 2015. And I fell in love with the music business module in the college in Dublin. It's under the name of BIM Dublin. So it has a partnership with DIT, which is now called TUD. And basically, I fell in love with the music business course, and then I started my own record label that same year. And then, that kind of was interesting because just kind of like anything, when you're kind of like ahead of the ball in technology, you can kind of skip forward a couple of years. So a lot of people in Ireland were still kind of on the vinyl stuff, on the CD stuff, and I had kind of tapped straight into streaming. So I didn't do any CDs or any vinyl. So I kind of started uploading music from the artists that were recorded in my studio in Dublin. So we just did like a management, record label, distribution company kind of vibe from 2015, and so this year's gonna be 10 years that we've been doing that, and it was really dope. That allowed me to kind of like skip ahead, as I said, and understand the music tech landscape with the music landscape of artists and the whole kind of traditional landscape of like record labels and so on and so forth. So yeah, man, I'm just all music. I play 7 instruments. I go up play music in church. The same kind of typical Black executive story. Yeah, man, and I really love, and we kind of focus really on Irish hip hop, urban music. Kind of anything to do with like Black ethnic. So you're talking about like gospel music, hip hop, R&B music, soul, jazz, kind of. That's what we kind of focus on. So in my record label, we have about 2,000 songs we've been involved with in different capacities, and yeah, we've done billions of streams and all that kind of stuff. And I suppose about 3 years ago, I kind of ventured off to tackle a new problem based on my itch from being in the record space and working with artists, and seeing a problem that artists will not be able to make a living. All my best artists, I suppose maybe for every 10, only 10% of my artists could live off music, and that would mainly come from like music, record masters, publishing, live shows, club appearances, brand deals and sponsorship deals. But you would have to do all of that in order to make a living. So not all my artists sponsors wanted to sponsor, and not all my artists people wanted to work with and get them into the clubs. And also 90% of the artists could still have to work a part-time job, and these are the most talented artists. They still have to work a part-time job, or they have to work a full-time job. They still have to do other things, and they really wanted to live off their music. So I when I did my partnership. So we did the first ever joint venture with Warner Music and Atlantic Records in Irish history in 2021. And when I did that deal, I was now in the Warner ecosystem. So I was like so focused on like, okay, how can I scale up to the top 100 executives performing in Warner or top 10 and get a massive pay cut and it's commit so it's perform there's a performance element to it. So the more you do, the greater your pay cut is and so on and so forth. But then after a while I realized that this is kind of counterintuitive because basically the way they grow is when they make the artists make more money, right?
Yeah.
But if the pie is the same pie, we're all basically all fighting for the same. Nobody's growing the pie. So I'm indirectly just fighting a lost battle because we're just all trying to run for the same money. So basically I said, okay, cool. I need to somehow, how can I grow this pie? So I went into like a lot of rabbit holes. And we had invested in a company. My friend he had like a little private company investment community in 2020. And basically we invested in a company called Audio Mob through that company, and it was like an audio ads in gaming company. So I called the CEO at the company because I wanted to understand ad economics. Off the back of this was just after the World Cup. So one of my friends, he was a big influencer. He was at the World Cup. He called me. He was on Love Island. He called me. So Snapchat sent him over there. He
Hold
called.
on, you can't say my mate was on Love Island and not give further info because people who are listening are going to be like, I need to know who this guy is.
Oh yeah. So his name is Dammy Hope. His name is Dammy.
I wouldn't have a clue. I don't watch that.
He would have been a couple years back, and he would have been my friend, and I moved to UK, and so we were catching up on the call, and he was just like, World Cup that if you think this thing is about, he said something like, if you think this is about football, it's all about branding and advertising, something that like Budweiser had taken over his hotel and they had a Budweiser bed sheet, Budweiser t-shirt, Budweiser towel, just everything. He's like, and I'm weird because I get into like these little rabbit holes of, wait, it's about advertising, and it's like, so then that made me kind of wonder like how much money is really in that advertising space,
Yeah.
But I'm trying to understand it from a creative standpoint. I know for like TV and traditional media, but like what is it now for like the newer landscape of entertainment and So I texted the guy from that startup because he was in the advertising space. So I asked, can you teach me a bit about like ad economics and so on and so forth? And he sent me some websites, some links. It was very, very helpful. And I went into a deep rabbit hole and I understood that, shit. Wait, I was trying to now look at my royalty statements for the artists. I was like, wait, I think we've been looking at this whole thing a bit wrong. So, a lot of people in the Web3 space or in the music tech space or just artists in general will like attack Spotify because they're like, Spotify is not paying out so and so from. And basically, that time I realized Spotify's model a lot more, which a lot of people are not deep in. So basically,
this is an interesting one because Spotify, I think, has this kind of double-sided. Like, I pay for Spotify, I can't live without my Spotify. But like, I know when I was told initially, artists aren't getting like their share of the fee. Initially, when I heard that, I was like, "Huh, this makes no fucking sense to me." Because like, these are the guys producing all the content that we're listening to.
That's not really what is happening. That's what's crazy about it. That's why I was like, so a lot of this complaining stuff is a bit whack. It's a bit whack. It's basically, you already understand how this works. It's like the biggest companies in the world, they kind of dictate what we call a CPM, right? So a cost per 1,000 impressions. They kind of every year, every industry has its CPM kind of range, right? So kind of bigger industries that have a lot of money to spend, like finance and legal, they will have a bit higher, and then it kind of goes all the way down. So I had to understand that. So where does music fall into this? So that time, that was 2023. So music was like around a $3 to $6 CPM. I was like, so $3 to $6 to CPM. I was like, okay. So when I looked at my royalty statements, I was looking at how much we were getting paid per stream, and you're looking around between 3.5 to 3.5 to 4.5, depending on what territory you are in.
Sure.
So I was like, so these guys are literally just paying us as CPM for per stream. They're literally just paying us per impression,
Yeah.
right? That's literally so the artists I get impression what payout. So I was like, okay. So we just kind of we've changed it to the word streaming, and we've kind of tried to okay. So I was like, if the internet is the one dictating that, you can't really fight Spotify for just giving you what the internet is, the standard is, right? So that kind of made me understand. So also Spotify really making their money from the subscriptions. So what is a subscription? It's an accessibility. It's an accessibility fee. You just have access to the music in the world, and we are paying for that. So I was like, okay, so they're paying us impression streaming money indirectly, and they're keeping our subscription money. Okay, can't really fight them for that. So since then, I don't get when people do the whole Spotify is this, Spotify. I'm just like, yeah, I hear you, but if you were in their shoes, what would you do different? How would it look different? A lot of people want to comfort people with no solutions, and
Yeah, that's the internet, though, isn't it?
yeah, that's the internet, and I'm like, but YouTube is so much worse. Like I'm like, YouTube and other companies are like, they pay out way worse than Spotify. Like if anything, Spotify pays out the most every single year. Last year they reported to pay out about 9 billion last year out to artists last year. So like they still pay out more than for the music industry than anybody else, right? So if you're not coming for Google with YouTube, who could probably pay out the most to everybody every year? Spotify's still an independent company. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not giving them a complete let go, but I'm just saying it's not as deep as some people make it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole hype train on the online, because I see it all the time. Is like people getting shitty with Spotify, but like as you're saying there, they seem to be paying out a reasonable cut of the pie. So talk to me about Coum. What happened here? Because like gaming, I find music and gaming are two kind of things that are so like majorly interlinked. I think everybody who's ever played FIFA, they will remember their favorite soundtrack from FIFA. You have things like GTA when you flick through the radio stations. Each radio station has its own tunes, has its own music, and these are songs that people will resonate with. 20 years down the line, I hear a particular song, go, fuck me, that was on FIFA 202, and I remember that. So talk to me about Coum and how this came to pass.
So there's 6 sectors of entertainment, right? So there's 6 sectors of entertainment. You have media, you have TV, you have film, you have gaming, you have music, and you have there's one more, it's in sports, right? So there's 6 sectors of entertainment, right? Every sector, in my opinion, extracts value from music, but music in an amazing way, where they've been able to use music IP, music solutions in order to increase their product and like drive more to their industry. Now, out of all those sectors, would you believe if I told you that the film industry, the sports industry, and the game industry are all valued more than music in valuation, global valuation right now?
Sure.
Which is crazy to think, because there's more people that listen to music than people that play games. There's more people that listen to music than people that play sports. There's more people that listen to music than people that watch films. So you're like, where is the correlation here to like the value of how this is actually valued per person in the world versus what the industry makes, and how is money being injected into the other industries to give them so much more value than music? So that's basically the high level. So you're right to say that music has a very good synergy with gaming.
Yeah.
That's because they've all done well to kind of incorporate, as you said it there, FIFA has been well to incorporate music into their situations, same with GTA and all of those situations. But music, because it's such a traditional industry, we have failed to innovate. We have failed to innovate as fast as the other industries, right? And that's why I predominantly felt like, okay, cool, I can keep on doing records and just putting out records and I'm playing the game that everybody else is playing, or I can come and solve a hard problem, which is an ambitious problem, which is drive the complete valuation of music up to where it should be, in my opinion. So when I looked online and I called that guy from the startup and I said, oh, so we are getting a $4 CPM, roughly a $4.50 CPM. So what are you getting in games? Oh, we're getting like $10 to $15. I said, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, I was like, okay, wait. So you're telling me your CPM is nearly double 3x what music is in gaming?
Yep.
I was like, okay. Now
It goes higher than that. I've seen some spaces where it can be up to 50.
Bro, nuts. It's nuts. So I'm like, yeah, okay. We already know how money is. Money is basically a transfer of wealth from one place to another. So I'm like, okay, so how can I transfer attention? Because basically entertainment is the attention industry, right? So how can I take the attention or some type of transaction from gaming into music? Basically, then that was the basic idea before I went deeper into the rabbit hole of finding that there was more people that play gaming than people that watch YouTube. I was like, wait, what? So currently we have like 2.7 billion people that watch YouTube monthly, right? But in gaming you have about 3.3 billion gamers. I was like, wait, that's nuts. So the distribution, if you can hack this idea I was trying to create, was like ambitious as hell, yeah, but it's like fucking, if I can achieve it, I'm like probably gonna be the next Daniel Ek, Jimmy Iovine, one of the greatest people in music, which is my dream, right?
Yeah.
So I'm basically so high level. That basically made this whole idea of what Coum is. So what is Coum today? Sorry for that long.
No, I love it. It means I don't have to ask too many questions. Fucking drive, man.
Yeah. So basically, high level, it was just what we're doing now is basically allowing musicians, artists, producers, composers, to come to our platform, upload music to our platform, and distribute it to mobile games. What does that look like? That looks like the game developers are giving us an SDK, or we're giving the game developers an API SDK that they can plug and play within 30 minutes, depending on what platform you're using, 30 to an hour.
No, walk me through this, right? So, as you know, I'm my other hustle, because we're just going to call it fucking hustles now. My other hustle is we're making a fantasy football game, right?
Right.
So I'm talking to lads and ladies who love soccer, sports fans,
Right.
and it's like, right, I have my game. I come to you. Well, what's the process here? I go, right, I want tunes. I want good music that's going to be customized and deliverable to my audience. What's the process?
So the process is you go on our website, and based on what you've built your technology with, so we have a Unity version, and so Unity is like 70% of the gaming industry. So we have an Unreal Engine version, and we have a iframe version, which means they can be native to any app, right?
Yeah.
So you go on our platform and you'll be able to download that and pay our subscription fee, and then you pay that. When you pay that subscription, that covers you for your license, commercial license, basically. So you can plug and play that with your developer into your game and have music basically close to immediately. Your gamers would get an update on the app. They'll update the app, and then when they update the app, they would see, it would ask them on like the screen, what music are you trying to listen to today? And then they'll be like, I don't know, hip hop, and then they'll be like, it'll be a subgenre. So what type of hip hop? Irish hip hop, American hip hop, boom bap, blah blah blah. There's the different subgenres, and then we just feed them music. So we just feed them the music, and because there's a physical SDK that they can like a song or skip a song. If you skip a song under 30 seconds, we take that as a dislike. If you like a song, it can get saved to your like songs on our in your Coum account, and then you can actually link that to your Spotify or your Apple Music or your Tidal. So now if they're in a fantasy football, they can actually like songs that we've been feeding them. So they're not picking the songs, we're feeding it to them like a DJ. So I see it as like, it's like an AI driven DJ companion in your games. So basically they'll be able to like the song, and then if they've synced their Coum account, which they can go make to their Spotify, then they'll be able to like have all this new music being fed to them But then for you, what you get as a gamer is that you're getting increased retention because why? Because they're getting like a hit of like the neurological effect of, oh, I love this music while I'm playing the game. Do you get me? When Spotify did their deal with PlayStation in 2018, they came out in 2020 with results showing how much they had increased people playing, like people staying on PlayStation for the duration. I think it was like 4 to 6x, like longer people were still on spending on PlayStation because now you have your Spotify on PlayStation in the background. You're playing you're playing your games here, and then you have your playlist. So it's an interesting situation to what the neurological effect of music can do for any environment. But it makes sense when you go to a coffee shop, when you go to Starbucks, you go anywhere. If you want to create a great environment, just give people some good music. So we're basically
it's true because like you even see it, like you see it in the movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy, probably iconic. Like the movie, oh, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but the movie's crap. But the soundtrack is absolutely iconic. Like,
yeah.
Exactly. I know a load of people who have the soundtrack saved on their Spotify account, in their YouTube account, whatever. But like the movie's bang average. But everybody comes to the Guardian of the Galaxy movies for the audio that they're bringing to the table.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And you see this in loads of different sectors. Like as you said, like there's a science in terms of McDonald's, in terms of the music that they play. Get the fuck out of there faster. Do you know what I mean? There's all these psychological plays that I don't think people really understand. It's fascinating to see because I think Ireland at the moment has a very interesting music scene. I'm seeing a lot on TikTok. Like TikTok seems to have become the place where independent artists are like living at the moment because that's where they can get their fucking attention. Because obviously the cost of access and cost of implementation and stuff is going through the roof. Like
I hate TikTok. I hate TikTok, but yes, it's
but it works. Like one of the best I've seen doing it is kind of pretty.
It's definitely. Do you know what it is? It's definitely. See, it has a two-end problem, right? So I normally, traditionally, my career was kind of taking people from 0 to 1. So we kind of broke it's a lot on Snapchat, on Facebook. That was our era, Facebook days, Snapchat days. That's what we were doing a lot of marketing earlier on. Before TikTok came out. So I understood it was a lot easier to control like behaviors of customers and invest subconsciously as well, like relative to the attention and so on and so forth. So there was we nearly created a formula where TikTok is any man's game. And you see, yeah, exactly. And that also has made it harder for executives because you could have a massive TikTok hit that went off last year, but you think that it's about you. They're not actually there for you. They're there for that song. So the next song you could drop, you could have lost massive attention. So if I wanted to invest into a TikTok song, I'm just going to buy that one song and invest in that. But I might not be investing in the artist. So it actually has like a whole mental health play on a lot of artists I've seen, because you would think that you are the guy because you have the hottest song in the world right now. When you drop that song, nobody cares about it, right? So it's like you're not making careers unless you have some people that can pump multiple TikTok hits for you, which is really, really, really hard to create.
Only 2 artists, maybe 3, that I've seen do this really well. Connor Price, he's an independent artist out of Canada.
Yes.
His TikToks are fucking nuts, but his move was he did 2 albums called Round the Globe, where he basically took artists from different countries and collabed with them. So they were all basically sharing each other's networks. You have Ren's fucking phenomenal, Brighton-based rapper. All his videos are reaction videos, getting loads of different influencers, sending them the YouTube links, watching them react. Like I followed the 2 of them, and then Dax is Vancouver-based, kind of Christian rap style, more like men's mental health, religion, all this kind of vibe. So he's basically, his TikToks are like telling his life story with his songs as overplays. So those 3 have really done it really well, where they're getting those repeat.
I watched a Connor Price interview on my first million, and it seems like with his situation. Okay, so let's just say it this way, right? You're correct in what you're saying, but traditionally he should be able to, like, with the numbers he's doing, the touring should be going through the roof.
Yeah.
Right? Most of these artists, when they do this TikTok, their touring is not going through the roof. We're seeing the potential where e-com, like if people can do consumer products, it might work, like using TikTok shops or using just like Shopify connected it to your Spotify,
Yeah,
onto your TikTok. Maybe that like might be a thing for these people that are bringing high traffic.
merch drops and shit like
Yeah,
that.
much stuff, but like in terms of like live, these guys are not really getting like crazy live. And it seems with him, with Connor Price, he got his wife and him, they're great storytellers. So
Yes.
you people are there for the story initially and the kind of comedy element of they have like a team, you know, and it's very, very polished and clean, and then it feeds into the music. So you know, just like how Facebook ads or anything work. If you have like a percentage of a conversion convert into the actual Spotify, Apple Music, and so on and so forth. Yeah, and he's just doing it on a consistent basis, and I love the fact that he found something that works, and he just keeps on doing that. A lot of artists don't want to have they don't see themselves like a company, you know. Like for example, you know how a company will have like a brand board, they will have a specific branding, a specific.
Yeah, it's just I'm a musician. I like making my music, and that's exactly what you're saying. Like someone like Connor Price, he does it because he's like, this is my delivery fucking ecosystem.
Exactly.
I think most artists are going to be like, I made a really cool song, I want you to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
And they do that, and then they don't follow up with, you know, creating more content and creating that emotional connection with their audience.
Content is a specific content because Connor, like it's like you probably do like 10 or 20 different content, and like it's a specific type of content that they want. And I just don't want to be ever forced to make a specific thing. They're like, you're going against my own artistic creative direction. Like I don't want to be boxed, and that is basically high level creates that high level. That's what creates the failure, you know, a lot of the time of the next campaign, you know. It's because you're not doing what people already know and want from you. So this is why streaming right now is a very interesting market, where people are making music on stream with their fans. So as they're making the music, the fans are telling them, oh, that's cool. Oh, that line is weird. Oh, what, do this ad lib, or it should be mixed this way. So so there's a guy called DDG. He's doing this right now, which is really interesting. So he's actually making the music with them. So when the music comes out, those initial fans are the ones kind of, because now they're involved in the creative process, they're kind of pushing it, which I think is actually a more controlled way of releasing.
I think Harry Mack does something similar. New York-based rapper. He basically just wanders out into the streets and is like, right, give me 3 words, give me 3 random ass words, and he's just like slamming. He's fucking. That man's nuts. But like these are your top percent. These are your cream of the crop. These are the guys that are like, not everybody can do that, so they need a different way to distribute their music. Like my aunt, for example, she's kind of like Irish opera style, very old opera style, but with that Irish kind of like a Nuna and all that kind of Bunratty Castle that. But like it's hard for her to promote that music on like social media channels because it's not everybody's cup of tea. Whereas this is where something like this can kind of come in, where it's like, I've got a niche, I've got a sound that matches a particular genre or type of, you know, game or whatever. So that's the type of people that we're looking then to kind of onboard over here. Go, right, you've got a sound. Maybe it's hard for you to break through the noise on the social platforms and stuff like that. We've got a platform here that can deliver your content to customers. Am I right in kind of giving that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So like every social media is different, and I saw the hardest part of, well, it was fun because I was younger, so I was kind of really experimental, but like it was always trying to find, okay, what platform was for which artist and which one are we doubling down on. So for example, it was never like, oh, for some artists that are more serious, that people are there for them, I would find that like Instagram works way better because it's a lot more intentional. There are people that are trying to find discovery. I find TikTok will work a lot better. Then people that were just like didn't have amazing branding, but their music was just objectively good. I'll just go deep into Spotify and radio and just like push the music for the music, right? And Snapchat was, if it was an artist that had more of a connection to the people and he wants to reply to every single of their fans, it was like that our snippet. So every platform is different. So for somebody for your aunt, I would say for someone like her, it would be like, you know, Facebook, right? Because Facebook still has the distribution out of all platforms, and it has an older network. So you will find a literal in Ireland. You will find a community of people that just love opera, and it might be just 100,000 people, and in the west of Ireland it might even be 10,000. But you only need like 100, 200 people to love you and spend 50 to 200 quid a year on you for you to make a living from your music, right? This is why I'm always telling people, like, if you want to make a living from your music, it's not about, it looks sexy to go global. It looks very sexy to go global and like do 1 billion streams, do 100 million streams, all of that. But it's more in internet age, it's better to just have a niche of people that love you. Super fans, some people call it, that's a bit of a hype word right now. I just call it a core fan base of your nucleus. Your nucleus is the people that are there from the beginning, people that are there for your story, and you can build it. So yeah, even if you blow up and you get to the 100 million streams, those people are the people that are allowing that to be sustainable, and it means that you don't get too big without a fan base. I've seen people get the big fan bases and not have a nucleus, so then they're always chasing the next hit. They're always chasing that next hit, and you're always chasing the next hit. You're in a lost battle because you can't determine the hit in 2025. It's the people that determine the hit. So you have to kind of reverse engineer that and like start local. And the basic way, last thing I'll say is that the basic way I'll tell people is that back in the day where hip hop, 50 Cent, and all these mixtape rappers, they would go to everybody in their estates and give them a mixtape. I rap. Listen to me rapping. Mixtapes were free CDs that people were going around. I rap now, listen to me rapping. Go to school, I rap, listen to me rapping. Right?
I get CDs and discs going around the place. Like,
Yes, it was literally the most organic marketing, right? And they will create, everybody knows you make music. In today's age, you can make music and your next door neighbor don't know you make music. Unless you make noise in the house. And they ask you, why are you making us? Oh, I'm an artist. But like, apart from that, like your next door neighbor don't know, your people in school don't know, you're just relying on TikTok and internet distribution. Okay, how about when they ban your TikTok account if you say something weird? Or how about if they ban your Instagram account or you get hacked? What happens? You lost all your distribution, right? And I would say to people like, your town need to know you. Then the city need to know you. In Ireland, your county should know you. Then the country should know you, and then you should go for the continent, and you should build that way. Like we call it brick by brick. You should be trying to build it brick by brick, not trying to skip steps and go to step Z, because life will always bring you back to step B, C, D. Do you get me? And that's
that's how it is.
That's how it is, in my opinion. So yeah, high level. Work ground up, get an email list, get a community of people who just love you for you, and just build it brick by brick. And the best artists, that is them. Like we know the best artists in the industry today. It wasn't off a viral moment. It was not off a viral moment. It was, we loved their story. We got on some part of their story. We found out about what they've done before. We fell in love with them more. And people will just always respect that more than something that goes viral on TikTok or something like that. So yeah, man, distribution. So I know we got, that's a bit, I know.
It makes a lot of sense because like, I think there's this thing, right? Like there's so much noise, there's so much content, there's so much stuff. Trying to find the stuff that you vibe with, the stuff that you like is actually, I find, getting harder. So like one of the greatest tools I found the last couple of years is the AI DJ and Spotify, because it's like, we're going to deliver you some more shit that we think you like based on the stuff that you already listen to. And I've kind of come across some really cool artists over the last year, like Lee Mack. Like he's fucking class. But I wouldn't have come across him natively. And it's that whole, and this is similar to obviously what you're trying to do with Coum and embed it into the gaming sector of we're going to deliver you, and this is how we're going to take it full circle. It's this idea of, you want new music. We all want new music. We all want, music that we're going to enjoy. Exactly. But it's that thing of, right, how do I access this content? From the musician side, it's how do I access customers? But from the user side, it's like, I want new tunes. Cool. What you're doing is, when you're playing your game, whatever that might be, a video game, an app, we're going to deliver you music based on your interests, likes, and the stuff that you've already kind of...
Exactly. We're targeting the individual versus the demographic. So most games just target the demographic. If they have music at all, 75% of games on mobile don't have any music, but the 25% that have budgets to get music and like the AAA games and the big games that prioritize music, they do a demographic play, not
Yep.
individual play. So we're trying to target the individual directly and say, look, you probably we know on FIFA they're gonna force drum and bass down your throat, but you might not like drum and bass. So like on Candy Crush, your favorite game, instead of muting the game, what do you want to listen to? You want to listen to Dermot Kennedy and Dermot Kennedy singer songwriter esque type artist, Ed Sheeran type esque artist. Okay,
Yep.
we'll give that to you, and the artists get paid. They have a new revenue stream for the artists. The game developers are increasing their retention because they're making their gamers more happy, and overall, we're just making a better environment. It's a win-win situation. And the way I see it, when people say, "What why do you do this?" Well, entertainment has just always been an outlet for people, right? We're in a world where it's super super hard with mental health stuff, with living crisis and loneliness epidemic and just so much things, right?
World's
So
fucked. Just
yeah.
call it what it is. The world's fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So we're just trying to make that, whether that's 15 minutes, that 20 minutes a day, you want to like zone out, and just 30 minutes a day you want to zone out and have an amazing experience. That's where we come in and trying to increase that experience for you, and it's not like we don't want it to be a thing that it becomes addictive, like so on, like a TikTok where you're spending 3-4 hours of your time. No, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to just make whatever experience you are experiencing, we're just trying to make it a better experience. So and for the customer, and there's a lot of incentives. We have like rewards incentives, we have different types of things, like also educating people again with music, because as you said yourself there, it's as there's 120,000 songs being released a day currently on Spotify, right?
Fuck, I didn't know it was that high.
90% of music is not streamed over 1,000 times, right?
Yeah.
So it means that there's oversupply, and people don't want that oversupply. People want quality music, and I feel like there's been, obviously with TikTok and all the different platforms, there's been a lot of distribution, which is amazing. And I wouldn't have. I'm not talking bad on the new technology. I think all the new technology is amazing, because I wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for the new technology.
Sure.
But I mean that, like, wherever something happens, there has to be like a balancing. There has to be something to balance it so it doesn't go too much, So we are trying to go down more of a Netflix model versus a YouTube model. YouTube is like anybody can just upload, and it just gets oversaturated. We're going down a bit of more of a curation model, with like a Netflix model, like how I like to explain it. And how I explain is that when I was like 2 years old or 5 years old, I grew up on MTV, and MTV was lit. You know what I mean? Like, MTV told us.
See, I'm a couple of years old. I'm a couple of years older than you, so and this really hurts my feelings, because I keep having to remind myself you're not even fucking 30 yet. But like, yeah, I grew up like teenage years. MTV, every time you come home, MTV was on in the corner of the room. Do you know what I mean? When you were going about your homework, your chores around the gaff and stuff like that, and it would just rotate depending on who had the access to the controller. And as long as Kerrang wasn't ever put on, I was happy.
Yeah, but at least you knew. They told you what good music was like, and there was a stat that came out a couple of years ago that 70% of people on streaming platforms, on music, want to be told what the quality music is. We were told Usher was good because Usher was on MTV. We were told Beyonce was. I already experienced Beyonce, and because she was on MTV, and all of these amazing artists, right? What's happened with the democratization of the technology is that there's an oversaturation of music, so you don't know what the great music is. So I am trying to also, with the distribution we have within these mobile games, to kind of give people amazing music. I am still trying to make sure we balance that out. So it's not because the whole point is people stay on the games with good music. So there has to be some tools. So we'll have like curators, we have like editors, DJs that are specialized on like great music. And it's not going to be based on how many followers you have. It's not based on how much clout you have. It's just going to be on if this is objectively good music based on the team's taste. And then we have AI tools as well that also will dictate like the different levels of quality music and so on. So we are trying to go down more of a Netflix model. So you best people will hear the best music in the best games, and that's our aim.
So talk to me, like, where's Coum at right now?
We are currently finishing our B2C side of stuff, which is the app where people can consume, have their own little AI DJ avatar guy who's playing your music and letting you play games and having like a deeper experience after you've already experienced us in whatever your favorite games are. So let's, for example, to break it down into context, if you're playing Candy Crush and you've experienced a new artist that you love in Candy Crush and you're like, oh, this is really dope. On the SDK, it shows where to go to. So he says like, oh, you can go to Spotify or you can go to our platform. And if you go to our platform, you'll be able to kind of have a little AI avatar DJ, which is also still referring you new music and kind of education around music. And I think the education around music is what I'm really interested in. Is like it will tell you, for example, like, oh, did you know that Taylor Swift recorded this song in Spain on this date? And just kind of like a kind of like
kind of like
that's like my
added info
little
kind of stuff.
that's like my little nerdy element to it. Just that
But people like that. I follow two or three artists quite detailed, and I always find it interesting. Like I follow like Ren on Instagram, and I always like anytime he releases new merch, I'm like, ooh, is this the time I'm going to buy it? I haven't yet.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
expensive.
yeah,
Or if he's off doing something, like the fella's got Lyme disease, so he's in and out of hospital. But like he does
yes,
clips when he's sitting there in his IV, ad-libbing his next bits and stuff like that, and you're just like, you're
yes,
a fucking tap little monkey, so you are, mate. But
yeah,
like he's nuts. But like
yeah,
it's just this thing is man strapped up to IV. He's like, look, this is my life. This is who I am. And you
mhm,
kind of get that thing of you're just a real dude doing some really cool shit, and you
yeah,
happen to be really good at it. So
yeah,
this is what it's that understanding.
yes,
Like just
exactly.
in terms of the Coum platform, 'cause I'm trying to keep it's this idea of like, right, so we're basically thereabouts, right? So where does this look in like 5 years? What's the hit me with like what's my long term game here?
Yeah, man. Yeah, like it's interesting because like I'm burdened by the industry. Like I love music and that's all I've done. So somebody was asking me like, would I build? Am I building to sell? I'm not technically building to sell, but I am building to solve a problem. And if an acquisition comes at that time, that's on like something I cannot turn down. Obviously,
Yeah,
I'm a human
it's
being.
passion over profit.
Yeah,
How does that?
yeah,
And we
yeah,
need
exactly.
profit because man needs to live.
Yes, exactly. It's a passion thing. I've been involved in many businesses that I could have done that's way easier than music, and I would have made a lot of them. But I'm here because I care about this problem. I care about artists. I care about human beings and the hard times people are going through, and I just want to make that easier in the little way I can. So in 5 years from now, we're looking like I want to like there's 3.3 billion gamers right now. Like I want to like see if we can probably get like 50% of the market in 5 years from now. I would love that. That would be amazing. And yeah, just do my own little bits to kind of increase the gaming industry, the whole entertainment landscape in general. I want to be my own personal goals. I want to be kind of in the same conversations as like the Daniel X and the Jimmy Iovine's and the greatest music executives to ever live. That's my own personal goal. Yeah, we're looking at and if you haven't like half the market, you're looking at that's like 1.5 billion users, monthly active users, and hopefully like at that stage we're doing a lot of impactful shit, as well, in terms of like using the whatever we are making in revenue to also invest into other initiatives in music, whether that's education, whether that's not just music, but like just like culture stuff, do you know? And just
Also, I
not be
think there's a wonderful angle because I know you mentioned it before, like like youth groups and stuff like that. It's like, right, let's bring music to the youth groups because these guys got stories to tell. Let's give them a talent and shit. You've got all these different angles that you can go down. Whether it's like for me, I've always said a participation in sports is like a passion for me.
yes,
What I'm
yes.
doing, and you're like, right, we want younger guys, younger girls playing with sports for yourself. It's obviously this idea of let's promote, you know, mental health. If you write some music, sing some songs, it's going to make everything better.
Yeah,
No, it's nothing.
exactly. And I think there's a situation where if we can increase the valuation of music again, I think that people that naturally love music will just start doing it again. Like when I grew up playing drums, there was such a big community of everybody that wanted to learn how to play. So like all of us wanted to be, it was cool to learn to play drums. It was cool to learn to play guitar. It was cool to learn to play the piano, and it was cool to learn music. And I think that has been a bit lost in this newer generation. And I feel like whatever the next generation of outlet in music is in, because obviously technology will just take it in a different space. I just want to be involved in some way, shape, or form, to do my own little bit in this massive industry that we love. And yeah, man, in general, I want to I always say I don't want to be another Silicon Valley startup. Honestly, I want to be a massive startup from Ireland, company in Ireland, like in Europe in general. Like I want to be a Spotify. I want to be like a Revolut. I want to be like a Klarna, which is like you're building a massive company from Europe. Yes, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no to American money.
No,
Yeah,
we're not stupid.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, we're not saying that. And obviously, I can have offices in America, but I want to be based here.
Yeah.
I want to I think that Ireland in general we have such smart people, really really intelligent people that need to take a gamble on themselves, and I want to be like a role model for people that just take gambles on themselves and chase ambitious projects and projects that they're passionate about and make success out of that. And that's kind of where I want to be. So if even if I sell, I'll still be in a situation where I'll be like helping on ground. Right now I still help on ground, but like artists who are setting up their e-commerce stores or setting up their own little consumer products, I help with that. No, I don't take any equity. I just do it as share help. Or I still consult for like festivals, and I still consult for like I'm on the board of AIM Ireland. So the AIM Ireland is the Association of Independent Music in Ireland. So we make like executive decisions for Ireland in terms of like some laws, like some stuff that are involved in like European laws and stuff like that, which is the independent sector, and we're part of bigger bodies and so like that. So I'm involved in that. I'm the youngest person on the board, and I represent like the younger generation and the minority generation as well. And in just like our approach or our wants and our needs, so I advocate for those as well. So like I've still been involved in like on ground. Do you get me? So it's just like now I'm chasing a really ambitious product as a problem, and I'm gonna smash it through the roof, and I'm gonna be one of those. I want to be like the next Wayflyer, the next Stripe, the next Transfermate, the unicorn companies from Ireland, and I'm just doing it. I'm just going heavy, man. Honestly, and yeah, man, I just really just want to help, and music is just my love, man. So
But Joe, I think this is the thing that kind of stands out, and this is probably one of my favorite things about doing this podcast is you talk to people like with a real fucking passion for their area. Like, don't get me wrong, I can't sing a tune. I'll never try unless I'm hammered. But like to see that, Joe, your passion. I've talked to so many different people. A few weeks ago, we had Heidi Davis talking about menopausal products. Before that, I was talking to Ty with the LGBTQ traveling product that he's building, and it's the best, most rewarding part of doing this for me is finding people like yourself who are like, I love this, and even if this doesn't work, my great startup idea, I'm so passionate about this that I do this, and no matter what happens, whether it goes big or small, I'm still going to have my boots on the ground doing something I fucking love, and the passion shows through. And it's without that, we're never going to have fucking anything to show for it. So
exactly, and it's amazing. But I still play drums in church every Sunday.
That's cool.
I still play, still serve God, and I'm very big in ministry as well in terms of like charity and stuff. So like bro, there's so much, but honestly, like Ireland, the main thing that I would love is if I can impact even just for this kind of probably the demographic that listen to this podcast is just like honestly people taking more risk on themselves in Ireland and just having a bit of a like we talk down on America a lot, but the one thing that has to be attributed to America is that they have a massive mind. They have big mindsets. Like they're willing to take big risks. They're not as educated. A lot of them are as educated as us, less talented, but they're willing to take massive bets, and they're willing to say, okay, how far? How
confidence, passion, hustle. Boom, boom, boom. Those are three factors.
And I feel like if we do it like that, I was watching a podcast and somebody from the UK was saying they have similar problems where we're very risk averse. And I just want to I would love to see in a few years a entrepreneurship scene in Ireland where we're just taking mad risk, everybody in different spaces, all being really cool and just tackling cool problems. And and just being cool. Like honestly,
I think we're getting there. I think we're like, because I've been doing this shit about 10 years now, 9-10 years now, and it's
damn.
definitely the last 2 years the ramp up, man.
How old are you, John?
I'm 34.
Are you not that old?
I'm not. Yeah, you just got caught there. But it's one of those ones, man, that I've definitely seen it over the last 2 years. It's like you know what it was 5 years ago. It was all about heavy investment, early doors. That's fucking hard to get. So you needed to have an idea that was, here, we're going to make 100 million next fucking week if we build it. Whereas now you've got this bootstrapping culture that's kind of coming around, you know, man in the shed vibe from back in the day. It's like, I'm going to build this thing because I think I have something here. Once I show it, once I prove it, once I can do it, now I'm going to show it to the world, and then we can get investment based on, this is what I've already been able to do. Whereas I think 5 years ago, it was that thing of, you know, boots on ground at events and going, I have this idea, want to give me money? Maybe. Whereas now I can just do it.
I think that's what happens. Like, I think the whole the financial crisis 2 years ago, after they overinvested in 2021 and 2022, and like people are trying to be more risk averse with their money now from 2023 onwards. I think that made founders say like, well, okay, well, I'm working a part-time job. I'm gonna bootstrap this because at the end of the day, I don't actually need investors' money to get this to market. And once I get, because every investor will say traction, 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 traction. And all they were really trying to say was, yo, is this making money yet? If this is making money now, we can actually have a proper conversation, right?
Yeah.
And like, you would have an amazing idea. I won a lot of competitions. You know, I was looking for investment money. I won a lot of competitions. You know, I mastered my pitch and so on and so forth. But so it was never about me and my pitch, to be honest. They say it's team. I had an amazing team. It wasn't about my team. It wasn't about all of that stuff that they like to lie. That it's all just about, is this making money yet? If it's making money, we can invest based on what are the projections. Full stop, blank period. Do you get me? Now what you do have is like amazing, like out of all of that is like the 1% of founders who have like, they see themselves in you. So they're like, oh, I was in your shoes. Let me take a little hustle on you and let me do a little angel check. You have those kind of still around the place here and there, friends and family and that. But in terms of like the kind of institutional guys, no, because it's not even their money. You know, that was the
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That was the thing that made me. I went nuts when I found out about an LP and a GP when I was doing some VC on research years ago to understand what a VC was. I was like, oh, so a GP is just managing LP's money, and who are the LPs? These are the angels who you could just that are investing.
Angels who don't want to do the work, so they go.
That don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
So what does the GP? Who is the GP? To validate if I'm a good founder, if they are not an ex-founder. So now you have some VCs that have ex-founders in the VCs, but then some of the GPs are just finance guys that worked in Goldman Sachs or just did
crypto bros. Call them up there.
You know what I mean? So like, I'm like, so how are you? If you want to you aren't willing to take a risk to make a startup to understand the pop where I am as a founder, why should you like? So when I was getting no's from VCs, I stopped taking it to heart because I was like, oh, well, I just take it as you don't really get it. Like, and it's okay you don't get it because when I make revenue, when I do,
it means you're not my fit. Move on.
I'm the right fit. So now I'm more interested in just being in the right spaces, changing my environment, people, other founders who have raised money, smart people who have exited companies, and just being smart rooms. And what I've realized since then is now people want to throw money at a situation I'm doing, and I realized that, oh, okay. So now because it's individuals' money, less than company money, I'm just saying, okay, just wait till I launch, and then 3 months after I launch, I'll hit you up. Or 6 months after I launch, I'll hit you up about that. Like that's what I'm doing now because it's individuals' money, so you care not to
you want to do it right.
Yeah. Whereas VCs is in 5 years ago was cash cows. You do not know who they were, and you were just kind of trying to get money from anywhere. I'm
a hoe. I'll take money from where it'll come from. I'm going to be honest here.
If they don't, if they're dope, but like you don't want to take money from anyone because if you do your background and the people that are behind the VC are a bit weird, you know,
Yeah.
you don't want that money. Not all money is good money. Do you get me?
Yeah. Well,
So
this
like,
is true within
yeah.
reason.
You're a hoe. Yeah, you're definitely a hoe.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna call it as it is. It's like if there's money I can get from somewhere, I will talk. Like whether we're gonna take it is a different conversation. Right. Last thing for you, right? And because I know conscious of your time. This has been a fucking brilliant chat, by the way. But right, if people give me like the short sales pitch. I'm a musician. What am I doing? Give me the one-liner sales pitch for Coum, how people can get hold of you, where they can find you, all that whole shebang, and then we'll wrap it
Okay,
up and get the hell out of here for the day.
okay, cool. Yeah, so Coum Technologies, you want to reduce churn in your game and you want to increase retention. Well, how about you have personalized music for your gamers? You can plug and play our SDK, and within 30 minutes, and your gamers are receiving the best music that they've ever heard. For musicians, for the music rights holders, you want to increase revenue. You want a new way of making money that you don't have to think about too much. You don't need to have a lot of followers. You don't have to post a lot on TikTok. You don't have to do any of that. Just upload your music to our platform, and you have a new revenue stream that comes into you monthly. And overall, for the average user, we just want to make a better experience for you, play by play, song by song, level by level. And you can find us at Coum.tech. Um, Will be a series of events all over Ireland. If you're based in Ireland, will be a series of events this summer. We're currently raising, so if you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us on the website, or you can reach out to me at my email, Solomon at trustitentertainment.com. And yeah, and that's basically us. We're changing the music industry and the gaming industry forever.
Right, I'm gonna try summarize the shit out of that. Right, if you like games and you have great music, Coum Tech, boom, fuck yeah.
Yes.
5 words, 5 fucking words. Right, from my
I,
side,
I have a pitch deck which probably summarizes it in like 8 words. So yeah, I can send the pitch. On our website kind of has, I'm the founder. We have the founder problems when we just have
yeah.
it's too many
Yeah, you
words.
give me 40 minutes to talk about sports and data in sports, and I'm going to lose all of my friends. I have to be very careful when I go to the pub with the boys. They mentioned fantasy football, and I just have to roll slowly
Yeah,
back.
talk to me about that fantasy football team, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll drop it. Joe, I will. We'll carry for a minute. So what we're doing is it's called Statter, right? So basically, what you have right now is you have myself and Marty, the two happy heads of Goose. We're both now living in startup land and doing our own thing. So we've actually both left our own employments over the last year to kind of live in this startup community. So I'm doing fancy football. Martin is doing AI generated content for content generation for websites and shit like that. Which is so Goose Gander is what that is. Keep an eye out for that. Martin's up to some really cool shit. But on the Statter side, so it's Statter Draft. What we're doing is, if you've ever played fantasy football, anybody who knows fantasy football, what you have is this idea of everybody picks Salah, everybody captains Haaland. 6 weeks in, somebody's 50 points ahead. You look at your teams, you've got 9 or 10 of the same players, and you're like, cool, I'm going to chip away 2 points a week at them for the next 30 weeks. Mathematically, I'm already fucking cooked. I can't win. That means the engagement drops by like 50% by Christmas. It's 80% by April. So by April, like right now, we're looking at 10% of the people who started fantasy football at the start of the year are actively playing because they're their top 2, 3, 4 in each league that still have a chance of winning. Furthermore on that, if you've ever collected money from your mates, it's a pain in the ass. I'll pay you next week when I see you. Oh, I don't have Revolut, so I can't send it to you. Then you have to trust the guy who holds all the money for 9 months, 10 months, that he's going to pay it out at the end of the year and not going to spend it. So what we do is go, right, you're the league organizer. How about you create your league your way? Do you want double points for captains? Do you want, 1 sub, 3 sub, 7 sub? Do you want no subs and just straight up drafted? And then you have your draft night. The draft night's the greatest night in the world. You get your mates, you sit in the garden, barbecue, beers, pick your football teams. And then throughout the year, me and you are going to play, me and Jimmy are going to play, Martin and yourself are going to play. And what happens is this what we call it shenanigans, but generally it's shitting on your mates. So like you're winning, you're talking big. I'm playing you this weekend, so I'll message one of the lads and go, right, give me Cole Palmer there for the week and let's shut him down. Now, you're upset with me that I've just screwed you over. You're upset with him that he's just helped me screw you over. So next time you're playing him, you're going to go to one of the other guys or girls in the group and go, it's time for us to get one back over. And it just creates this whole ecosystem of loving the sport, but hating your mates. And like, we're doing this 10 years in the background. So we've got one of the lads in Spain. We've got one of the lads that's currently living in the Amazon forest down in Brazil. We've got two in Madrid. And the 10 of us basically every year for the last 10 years, the 10, 11 of us, we meet up on a video call. Any of us who can meet up in person. We pick our football teams and give each other shit for the night. And that's basically the vibe.
Interesting. So, but now you're trying to be the infrastructure. So, are you trying to create the game or the actual fantasy football game, or are you trying to create the infrastructure of it? And how does it make money?
Oh, we're breaking the whole fucking thing down, mate. For a start, like traditional models, the only people anybody cares about is your centre forwards. Do you stick the ball in the hole? If you're not, nobody cares. But like Rodri is a defensive midfielder. He's Ballon d'Or winner. Look how City have done this year without him. But yeah, if you look at any of the leading games, Rodri's like page 3, 4, 5 of top access players. It's like, how is the best player in the world that far down the rankings? How we even started this was over Kante, the year Leicester won the Premier League, and my co-founder Jimmy being like, he's like 10th page. I'm like, yeah, but he's the best player in the league. If Leicester don't have him, they can't do anything that they're doing this year. But that doesn't sound right. We were like, yeah, we know, but the game's broken, so we just accept it for what it is. So the line I use is we Roy Keane the absolute shit out of it. What's a defender's job? What's your job? That's your job, man. And just really bang into that and go, defender's job is to stop goals. So headers, clearances, tackles, interceptions. That's what they get points for. Midfielders get points for interceptions, for key passes, for crosses complete, tackles, everything that a midfielder's job is to do. And then obviously forwards get their points for being forwards. And goalkeepers in any fancy game, nobody cares. You just pick up a goalkeeper who's cheap that fits your squad. But that's what people do. It's like, who's the cheapest possible keeper I can get who's going to play? But when our thing is, it's like, right, is he busy? Cool, that means he's making a load of saves.
So do you start off with a budget?
No. So because it's draft order, let's say we have 10 mates in a room.
Yeah.
So
like, do you buy players? Do you buy and trade players? Do you put players on loan?
And, we can trade amongst each other. So basically, once we all have our squad, that's my squad. Now you're another manager, so I can do trade every week. I can do a trade with another manager, or I can drop a player and pick him up from the open market of players who haven't been picked yet. So you get that real. My favorite trade is the injury trade. So like Nathan Ake did an ACL injury, and one of the lads tanked him off on one of the other boys for like was it Milenkovic from Nottingham Forest or whatever before, like during the game. So he went down playing for Holland. So he was obviously watching the Dutch game. The apps hadn't updated yet that Nathan Ake is injured. So he proposed a trade with one of the guys. He went, yep, I'll take Nathan Ake. That's a really good deal for me. An hour later, sent in the article, Nathan Ake season over ACL injury. It's like, you absolute bastard. So you took out.
Oh, got you.
So
okay, so it's very like how I'm not a technical guy, so I want to
social gaming basically.
Yeah, it's very, very dope. I like it. And so, how does it make money? Is it a subscription basis?
A couple of different ways. So when you put your league entry fee in, so right now I think it's 92% of fantasy leagues are paid to play. You'll normally have 5 or 10 or 20 euro entry. Some idiot puts their hand up at the start of the year, sends in the league code to the group, and goes, right, when you're ready, all y'all send me your money. This is the league for the year. Let's go. Now, what we're going to do is not everybody pays. Pots always end up short. Maybe somebody can't be trusted with the money and they do a runner and spend it or whatever. These things happen. Like, this is reality. So what happens then is we'll do that. We'll put like a transaction on top, like a Just Eat, like Euro or whatever. But then we have in-game sponsorship. So we're actually selling our title sponsor space at the moment. We can have 4. First one onboarded. And then what we'll also have is like a freemium model. So every player is going to get the data. But if you want to pay us to get it in quick vision chart format, it's like a €1 a month subscription. So it means that for the cost of a €9 or €10 over the course of a season, you can, if you're the type like me, like I set my lineup on the ball which most people do. It's very very lad kind of culture of sit down on the jack, set my team or whatever.
Sounds like a Fulham fan to me.
We all do. Fuck off, you. We'll talk when you're playing as much European football as us next year, right? But what I'll do is when that's up and running, I'll get you an access code and we'll get you and your mates testing. You can let me know because you're only out the road in Ennis, so we're going to organize a few drinks.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's do
No,
that.
I love that idea, and I suppose where do you want that to be in 5 years?
Ooh, are you just flipping the podcast back on me now? In 5 years' time, basically, I want this to be like a multi-league format. So the dream would be like we have onboarded leagues like the Premier League, MLS, Brazilian Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, and then players can do a mixed match model of pick the best players from the Bundesliga and match them over the Premier League, and just have like this really cool, almost ultimate team / fantasy sports crossover type vibe.
Is it kind of like Football Manager?
Kind of. So there's an element of fantasy sports, there's an element of Football Manager, there's an element of basically strategic social play. So when you combine them all, you're not doing Football Manager where you're buying and selling by a chart because me and you were trying to screw each other over and beat each other as well at the same time. So you've got all these different factors, which means the best idea is go into a pub on a Sunday with your mates, watch a bit of football, and just shout at each other for how everything has gone well or badly. And it's glorious. It's really that thing of.
No, it's definitely good because I think going back to what I was saying earlier on, how I've seen a lot of my friends kind of, because I was so deep into playing music that I didn't always get to grow up on FIFA and other kind of or I wasn't the best, and because I was so competitive, I just didn't end up learning because I didn't want to lose against.
You didn't want to play because you didn't want to get battered.
Yeah. But it's it is definitely, I think it's something that people might not know, but like that kind of like, as you said, last 10 years, same 10 guys, it is a thing that actually happens and it actually gets people through stuff, right? Like you'll be connected, you'll be all in different places in your life. Your friends are maybe having kids. You've quit your job to take on a startup journey, but you guys will all come back to the one place and play the game one, and that is like that has never changed.
This is the thing. Like I'll give you this story and then we'll wrap. Right, my favorite story of all. Like we have bucket loads of lore from doing this for over the years, but my favorite one is the story of Gary's wedding. We have one of the lads, Gary. Absolute G. He's actually on the Starter podcast, which runs at 8 p.m. every Monday night, where we talk about sports and fantasy football. But Gary was getting married. Now, Dean lived in Canada for a while, lived in Limerick for a while. Gary and Dean had never actually met each other in person, and we were at like year 7 or 8 at this stage. So we're all invited to Gary's wedding. Everybody in the league, a league table at the wedding. So Gary didn't know. The whole way driving up the road, Dean, lads, I feel like this is like the greatest long con ever, that there isn't even anybody called Gary and you've just been screwing me, that Gary's messages on the message board are just you lot. So we get up to Dublin and Gary's like, I didn't even know you were real. He was saying the exact same thing as Dean. Two boys met outside the church an hour before Gary's wedding. And then when he's doing his wedding speech, the last table in the wedding was our table. So it meant that Jimmy, my co-founder who came last that year, was also, and he referenced this in his speech, like, thanks to the lads for the Fantasy Football League coming. Jimmy, by the way, you're also the last person on the invite list for the wedding, as well as being last place in the Fantasy Football League.
Yes,
and it's that kind of long-term relationships and friendships that two of the boys met each other for the first time at one of their weddings, which is just, that's the connection you're looking for here. I know we've gone massively off topic, so let's wrap this shit up. Right. If you want to catch Solomon, you need to go to Coum.tech. If you are a mobile game, if you're a video game, whatever, have a look, upload your files. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to get some better music on your platform. Oh my God, shock and horror. If you're a musician and you've got some banging tunes, head over on the site, fill in the application form. Solomon and the guys will do what they do best, screen it, and then we'll have this lovely ecosystem of Irish artists on video games and mobile games. It's going to be really cool. Solomon's over on LinkedIn. If you go on their site, you'll see all the connections to their social channels. From my side, we are obviously Goosed.ie. We are on all of the platforms apart from that, that one called X that we don't play with anymore. But we are Goosed_ie on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Mastodon, etc., etc. This is obviously available on YouTube, Spotify. So from my perspective, good night, good morning, goodbye, good luck, good evening. I don't know, whenever the hell you're listening to this, and we'll catch you on the next one. Good luck. And Sol, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. It was a great chat.
Anytime, my guy.